4091 horror story, The Forgotten Code. In a remote, storm-battered town, a strange legend whispered among locals spoke of a secret code, 4091. It was said to unlock something buried deep in the shadows of the town's history. Those who dared to use it met unexplainable horrors, never to be seen again. The origins of the code were unknown, but its infamy grew as chilling incidents painted its reputation. This is the tale of Sarah, an ambitious journalist who dared to uncover the truth behind the cryptic numbers and paid a horrifying price. Sarah Davis, a determined and skeptical journalist, had built a career by debunking myths and ghost stories. She stumbled upon 4091 while researching urban legends for a Halloween special. Every source she interviewed grew visibly pale at its mention. "It's not a story, it's a warning," an elderly librarian whispered. "They say it's linked to the old asylum in Blackwood Woods. Those who invoke it vanish, leaving nothing but a shadow where they stood." Intrigued, Sarah dug deeper, discovering a forgotten asylum built in 1904. Records indicated that it housed the mentally ill, but rumors suggested horrific experiments had taken place. The asylum was mysteriously shut down in 1963, with its staff disappearing overnight. A final note in the archives chilled Sarah to the bone. "Do not use 4091, it calls them." Against warnings, Sarah decided to visit the asylum ruins, armed with her camera and recorder. The air around Blackwood Woods felt heavy, as though the forest itself wanted to keep her out. Despite the eerie silence, Sarah pressed on until she found the crumbling remains of the asylum. Inside, the building seemed frozen in time. Old medical charts, rusted tools, and broken furniture littered the floors. One room stood out, its door marked with a faintly scratched 4091. The door opened with a creak, revealing a room filled with old machinery and a dusty console with an input keypad. Ignoring her creeping fear, Sarah punched in 4091. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a deafening screech echoed, as though the building itself screamed in agony. The air grew icy, and Sarah felt an overwhelming sense of being watched. The asylum came alive. Shadows twisted unnaturally on the walls, forming grotesque faces and skeletal hands reaching toward her. Sarah's flashlight flickered, and she heard whispers, hundreds of voices chanting in unison, 4091. She ran, her breath ragged, but the hallways seemed endless. Every door led back to the same room with the keypad. Desperation turned to terror as Sarah saw her own reflection in a broken mirror. Except it wasn't her. The reflection smiled, its eyes hollow voids. "Leave," it hissed, "or stay forever." Refusing to give in, Sarah noticed something strange about the keypad. The numbers glowed faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. Driven by a mix of fear and determination, she tried to press other numbers, but they were unresponsive. Suddenly the chanting stopped. A deafening silence enveloped her, broken only by a deep, guttural growl. Turning slowly, she saw them. Figures cloaked in shadows, their faces featureless but with gaping mouths emitting an otherworldly hum. They moved closer, their presence suffocating. One reached out, and as its hand touched her shoulder, Sarah was overwhelmed by visions of the past. The experiments, the tortured screams of patients, and the blood-stained hands of doctors, all orchestrated under the control of a mysterious figure known only as the Keeper. The Keeper appeared, a towering figure draped in tattered robes, its face hidden beneath a cracked porcelain mask. It spoke in a voice that echoed in her mind. 4091 is not a code. It is a gate, and you have opened it. Sarah realized the asylum was a prison, not for the mentally ill, but for something far worse. The experiments were attempts to seal these entities from another realm. By using 4091, she had broken the seal, releasing them into her world. Your soul, the Keeper intoned, is the key to close the gate. Summoning every ounce of courage, Sarah smashed the keypad with a heavy pipe she found nearby. Sparks flew, and the shadows screamed, retreating momentarily. She ran toward the exit, feeling the darkness clawing at her heels. Just as she reached the door, she turned back and saw the Keeper watching her, its mask cracking to reveal an endless void beneath. Sarah escaped, but she wasn't the same. Her footage was corrupted, showing only static and brief glimpses of shadowy figures. Her reflection often moved independently, and whispers of 4091 echoed in her mind. Determined to warn others, she published her story, but those who read it began experiencing nightmares. Some disappeared, leaving only shadows burned into their walls. Sarah realized the curse of 4091 couldn't be escaped. It followed those who knew. Months had passed since Sarah's harrowing escape from the asylum, but the curse of 4091 loomed over her life like a dark cloud. Despite her warnings, thrill-seekers and paranormal enthusiasts flocked to the ruins, each seeking the infamous code. None returned. The legend continued to grow, but Sarah's nightmare was far from over. She discovered that her connection to 4091 had made her the Keeper's new target. Sarah couldn't sleep. Every night, she was plagued by the same recurring dream, a hallway with flickering lights, the hum of machinery, and the faint, chilling whispers of 4091. When she woke, her reflection in the mirror would stare at her longer than it should. The curse had left more than psychological scars. Objects in her apartment moved on their own. Her phone played distorted voices in the dead of night. Once, she found the numbers 4091 inches scratched into the walls of her bedroom, even though she had no memory of writing them. Desperate, Sarah turned to a paranormal investigator named Ethan Brooks, known for his expertise in unraveling haunted mysteries. "You don't just have a ghost," Ethan told her after visiting her apartment. "You have a portal. Whatever you unleashed, it's trying to drag you back." Ethan believed the asylum was only part of the puzzle. Through old town records, he uncovered the existence of a secret journal written by Dr. Elias Crane, the asylum's head physician. The journal allegedly detailed the origin of 4091 and the ritual required to seal the gate permanently. The journal, however, wasn't at the asylum. It was hidden in the mansion of Elias Crane's only living descendant, Amelia Crane, a reclusive elderly woman who lived miles away. Despite her fragile state, Amelia was lucid and all too familiar with 4091. "You shouldn't have come here," Amelia said, her hands trembling as she passed the journal to Sarah. "The Keeper will know." Inside the journal, Sarah and Ethan found horrifying details about the experiments. Dr. Crane had been attempting to harness the power of 4091 to control time and space. But the ritual went horribly wrong, creating a gateway to a realm of pure darkness. To contain the breach, Crane used a sacrificial ritual, sealing part of his soul within the asylum. Only the one who opened the gate can close it again, the journal warned, but the price is higher than death. As Sarah and Ethan pored over the journal, the air grew cold. Shadows in the corners of the room began to shift. Amelia's face twisted in terror. "It's here," she whispered. "The Keeper has come for you." The lights in the mansion flickered as a deafening hum filled the air. The Keeper emerged, its towering, cloaked figure materializing from the darkness. Its porcelain mask was now fully cracked, revealing a swirling void beneath. "You cannot run," it said, its voice echoing in their minds. "You are mine." Ethan grabbed Sarah, pulling her out of the mansion as the walls crumbled. Amelia's screams echoed behind them, silenced by a deafening crash. The Keeper did not pursue them, but left a chilling message scrawled in the air. 4091 is eternal. Back at Ethan's safe house, Sarah pieced together the ritual. It required returning to the asylum, activating 4091, and offering something of equal value to the Keeper: a life. Ethan volunteered, but Sarah refused. "This is my mess. I can't let you pay for my mistake," she said. The night they returned to the asylum, the air was thick with dread. The shadows seemed alive, whispering and taunting as they approached the keypad room. The Keeper appeared, blocking their path. "You cannot win," it said. "The gate is open, and your world will soon be ours." Sarah ignored the creature and began chanting the ritual words from the journal while Ethan guarded her. The Keeper grew furious, summoning shadowy figures to attack them. Ethan fought valiantly but was overwhelmed, dragged into the darkness. Realizing time was running out, Sarah completed the ritual and offered herself to the Keeper. The room erupted in blinding light as the shadows screamed in agony. The gate began to close, but Sarah felt her soul being torn apart. In her final moments, she saw flashes of Ethan's face, the people she loved, and the life she would never return to. Yet, she felt no regret. The gate slammed shut, and the asylum fell silent. Ethan woke outside the ruins, alone. The asylum had collapsed, leaving nothing but rubble. Sarah was gone, but her sacrifice had saved countless lives. Ethan discovered a new message etched into the ground where the asylum once stood. "The gate is sealed, but the Keeper watches still. Beware 4091. He vowed to honor Sarah's memory by continuing to warn others. But deep down, he knew the darkness wasn't gone. It was waiting for someone foolish enough to summon it again. The Keeper's legacy. Months passed since Sarah's sacrifice. Ethan had returned to his quiet life, haunted by the memories of the asylum and the Keeper. Despite his efforts to bury the past, whispers of 4091 persisted. It was as if the code had become alive, infecting minds like a virus. Reports of strange disappearances near the ruins began to surface, and Ethan feared that the seal Sarah had created was weakening. One fateful night, Ethan received an anonymous email with a single chilling subject line: "You can't bury the gate." Attached was a video of Sarah, alive but unrecognizable, standing in a void of shifting darkness. She stared into the camera and said, "The Keeper isn't finished, it's only beginning." Determined to investigate, Ethan revisited the journal of Dr. Elias Crane. One passage now glowed faintly, as though it had been written for him alone. "The Keeper is a fragment of a greater darkness. If the seal breaks, the gate will not reopen. It will consume the entire world." Ethan realized Sarah's sacrifice had delayed the inevitable, but the threat was still looming. The only way to permanently destroy 4091 was to find the original source of the gate. According to the journal, this source wasn't in the asylum, but hidden deep underground in a place called the Abyssal Chamber, an ancient, forgotten structure buried beneath the ruins of Blackwood Woods. Ethan assembled a team of paranormal experts, including Claire, a psychic medium, Marcus, a historian familiar with occult lore, and Jack, a tech specialist. Together they ventured into the cursed forest under the light of a pale, trembling moon. The deeper they ventured, the more the forest seemed to resist them. Trees twisted unnaturally, paths changed, and whispers followed their every step. Claire stopped suddenly, her face pale. "It's here," she said, pointing to a patch of earth that seemed darker than its surroundings. Using ground-penetrating radar, Jack confirmed the presence of a massive underground structure. The group began digging, eventually uncovering a rusted metal hatch marked with 4091. Descending into the chamber, they found themselves in a vast underground maze of stone corridors. The air was suffocating, heavy with the scent of decay. Symbols etched into the walls seemed to pulse with a faint, eerie light. Claire began hearing voices, desperate cries for help, overlapping with low, guttural growls. Marcus identified the symbols as ancient runes, meant to trap an entity of immense power. At the heart of the maze, they found a massive stone door with an inscription: "To end the Keeper, one must sever its origin. But beware, what is bound cannot be destroyed without a price." The group debated their next move, but the decision was made for them when the shadows came alive. The Keeper had arrived. The ground trembled as the Keeper materialized, its form even more monstrous than before. The porcelain mask was gone, revealing a swirling void filled with writhing, clawed hands and eyes that burned with malice. "You meddle with forces beyond your comprehension," it thundered. "The gate is eternal. You cannot end what was never meant to be sealed." The shadows attacked, separating the group. Ethan and Claire managed to reach the stone door, while Jack and Marcus fought to hold off the advancing darkness. Ethan and Claire deciphered the runes on the stone door, realizing it required blood to open. Without hesitation, Ethan cut his palm and pressed it against the cold stone. The door groaned open, revealing a pulsating black sphere, the heart of the gate. Claire fell to her knees, overwhelmed by the energy radiating from the sphere. "It's alive," she whispered. "This is what the Keeper protects." The Keeper's voice boomed. "Destroy it, and you destroy yourselves. The gate is your world's salvation, not its doom." Ethan hesitated, but Claire screamed, "Don't listen to it. It's lying." With trembling hands, Ethan thrust a blade into the sphere. The moment the blade pierced the heart, the chamber began to collapse. The Keeper let out a deafening roar, its form disintegrating into streams of black energy. The maze crumbled as the shadows were sucked into the collapsing sphere. Marcus and Jack rushed into the room just in time to see Claire consumed by the light, her body dissolving into particles. Ethan tried to pull her back, but she smiled faintly and whispered, "It has to be this way." As the sphere imploded, Ethan and the others were thrown out of the chamber, landing in the forest as the ground sealed itself behind them. The woods fell silent. The oppressive energy that had haunted the area was gone. Marcus and Jack believed the ordeal was over, but Ethan wasn't so sure. Back at his home, he found another email waiting for him. This time, it was a video of Claire, standing in the same void Sarah had been in. She looked directly at the camera and said, "You may have stopped the Keeper, but the gatekeepers are coming. 4091 is just the beginning."